Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Linda, and I'm still your instructor. Just a short recap from yesterday. We've covered users, roles, and groups. And today we'll see how the roles play in access control, which is what we're covering today. So this first half of the presentation is a lecture to go over the fundamental concepts of ACLs. If you have any questions, please note them in the chat. Once I finish the presentation portion of this demo, I can address these questions. As of right now, the PowerPoint that I'm using is in presentation mode, and so it's blocking any notifications from Zoom. So we're going to begin with ServiceNow Access Control, or ACL. ACL is a critical security mechanism used to control access to data within the ServiceNow platform. It defines the permissions for users and groups to access, modify, or delete records. ACLs are essentials for ensuring that sensitive information is protected and only authorized individuals can interact with specific data. The access control is a security rule defined to restrict access, hence the name. This is protected from standard system admins by requiring elevated access to perform CRUD operations to the table or records. The security_admin role shown in the second screenshot to the right is a role that is needed to create or modify any ACL. So what do we mean by CRUD? It is to give permissions to do the following: create, which is to add a new record to the table; read, to gain access to the table itself; update, also known as write, or to edit records to the table. So in other words, to make any edits to the table or record, that is a write action. And lastly, delete, to delete records from the table. An ACL is composed of several key components, the object being secure, such as the table or field, the operation, create, read, write, or delete, and the permissions required for the operation. Each rule can be applied to tables, records, or fields, allowing for granular control over data access. ServiceNow Access Control List, ACL rules come in several types, each defining specific access permissions for different aspects of the platform. These rule types include table-level ACLs. These rules control access to entire tables. They determine whether a user can create, read, write, or delete records within a table. Table-level ACLs are the broadest form of access control. So if you want to think about it as sort of an umbrella, right, that sort of catches all. If you look at the first column, the table dot none, the none indicates that you are gaining access to the entire table. You're not making any specifications onto what kind of data you're trying to access. The second level is record level ACLs, which is not pictured on the slide, but I think it's important to mention in any case. These rules govern access to the individual records within a table. So remember, the table, if you look at a table view, the rows they correspond to each individual records comprising of within that table. They can restrict access, restrict actions like viewing or editing specific records based on the user's role and conditions specified in the ACL. Last level is, which really corresponds to the second and third together. These are field level ACLs. These levels provide the most granular level of control, managing access to specific fields within the record. Field level ACLs ensure that users can only interact with certain fields, even if they have access to the entire record. So you can think of it as sort of like you're blurring, in some case, data within a record that you don't want people to see. It just wouldn't be visible. So if you wanted to kind of sort of visualize this, on the slide here, they have a house, and we can just use this analogy, this house analogy. So if you want to think about it this way, the table access ACL is to identify which house you are. And let's say, like in this case, we want to rent a basement apartment. So in this case, the table level ACL is to identify which what is the object that we are trying to access. Okay. And so now within that, in order to restrict access to the room we're running from, we need to define the field ACL. So if we're renting a basement level apartment within a house, we're going to be given a key, most likely we'll likely be given the basement door key to access the basement level. Now, so that would correspond to the field ACL. So the wildcard might indicate that, well, okay, this key is only specific to the door access. It's not going to give you access to all the other levels above. Like the main level will be locked off, the kitchen, the living room, and all the bedrooms on the upper floors. That is going to be locked off. So you could think of that as the wildcard ACL. To illustrate this, I've created this quasi-Venn diagram. This correlates to my demo HR application that I'll be using to demo the ACLs. Each HR team shown here, they're distinct groups from each other. They have read access into each other's records because of the information that may overlap. However, these 4 that are in blue do not have access to the confidential records in the orange. This is done to keep confidential records separate because, as you know, from their nature, they are kept secret. So we're going to go ahead and stop the lecture here and move on to the demo portion to show how these ACLs work and how these are put in practice. All right, see you soon. Welcome back, everyone. We are now in the demo section of the lecture on ACLs. I am logged into my own PDI. So here we have, so I'm going to go ahead. I just wanted to show you that I have created a very simple application called Human Resource Demo. It's specific for this demo purposes on ACLs. And this is really, these are categories that are filtered from one big list of HR tickets. So before we move into that, I just wanted to give you just a short primer on ACLs. If you wanted to see the entire ACLs that are housed within the system, just enter an ACL, singular, not plural, and it's housed under system security. So here we have access control. That's what we want here. I have the window open here. Now, on this page, these are all the ACLs that are housed within this system. These are belonging to many different applications that are already kind of like out of the box within the system. So here we have, so as you see, 20 pages. We have over 19,500 ACLs in the system. Okay, so if we were to go into one of them, as you can see, like these fields are grayed out. I do not have write privileges to these fields. So I just wanted to also point out that this disclaimer here, this is something you're going to need to pay attention to, because this deals with more cross-scoping. And so this is a concept that, if you work more with ServiceNow, you're going to have to understand the concept of application scope. And so what this means here, this record is in global application, but human resource demo is the current application. So what this means is that this record here, this ACL record was created in the global scope, but I have created an application, and I've created an application scope for this demo. And so in order to edit this, we have to be in the global scope. So again, this is kind of a little outside the scope, but this is also a concept that's important to read up on and to understand, because the idea is with application scope, all the artifacts created within the scope are housed within this application scope. So you don't have this giant pile of spaghetti mess and ACLs or any other scripts. It just becomes a mess very, 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 very fast. So it's a little bit of a tangent, but I just thought that was an important concept to go over. And if you wanted to read more, you can go to docs.servicenow.com to read more about it. We have a comprehensive product documentation site. So if you wanted to read more about it. All right. So here, if we check all these boxes, we go over here, as you can see, the delete option is grayed out. And we do not have a new button to create any new ACLs. No, now I bring this up because I can't do anything. Why is that? Why can I not do anything with ACL? I'm going to show you. So as you can see here, remember this screenshot? We're going to elevate our role. Remember, we need a certain role to do anything with ACLs. So remember, security_admin. You need this box checked out to do anything with ACL. And now you see there's a red ring around the profile, my profile picture, even though it's not a picture of me. So that indicates that I have privileges, I have security privileges to create these ACLs. All right. So moving on, so again, just wanted to show you. This is my application here. This is my application menu, but I do have the windows open. So this application is really just one large table. And again, these are categories and these are filtered lists based off the filters that I gave. So here, I just wanted to show you that this is the HR tickets table. Again, as I mentioned previously in the presentation, the horizontal rows correspond to the records. The vertical columns correspond to the fields within that record. Okay, so and again, these are all like within one pod. The HR type is the category, so it's filtered by its general HR, confidential, training, benefits, and so on. Okay, and here we have just to scroll up here. This is the table properties for this ticket, for this HR ticket table. So here we have the columns that are associated with the table. And if we scroll down to access control, we have nothing here. Now, I just wanted it's important to note that when you create a table, it comes with 4 ACLs it's just kind of out of the box, ACLs. So I've cleared those out because, I just wanted to start with a clean slate for this demo, because it gets a little unwieldy, because especially the naming convention is the same, and it's just kind of hard to, you have to kind of like click into it to know which ACL goes with what. So just to avoid all that, I cleared it out. So here, I'm going to move this window into this view here. Now, this is an incognito window logged into my PDI. And so we're going to use this to kind of test the ACLs that we've created. So I'm going to go ahead and impersonate a user. So for this demo, we are going to test the ACLs for payroll. And so now we have to we're going to impersonate Sam Sorokin. He is in payroll. Now, prior to this demo, I've created roles for to test these ACLs. And so Sam Sorokin is in payroll, and we are going to be creating ACLs for payroll. Okay, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. So here we're going to go to payroll and then to all here. So if we go here, we can't see anything, right? The security constraints prevent access to request a page. So this is for, I believe this was the payroll, and this was the all. So same thing goes for all. So here, they're not letting us in on the HR ticket table. That is what we need access to. That's what Sam needs access to in order to do his job. So with this in mind, what do we need to do first, right? So what does Sam need in order to do anything with the, to see anything or to determine anything, he needs read access to the HR table. So let's move this over. Now here, remember I have my, even though you can't see it, I should have my, oh, there we go. I have my red ring. So I have elevated privileges to create these ACLs. So let's go here. I should see, because I have that privilege, I can create an ACL. Before elevating that, I was not able to create a new ACL. So just wanted to bring that point home. Okay, so here, we're gonna create an ACL to the record, right? And if I expand this, you can place ACLs to any, or apply these ACLs to any of these endpoints here, but we're gonna keep it to record. Operation, we're gonna do a read record first, because again, Sam needs read access to the HR tickets table. So again, I just wanted to show all the other, it has all the CRUD operations, the create, read, write, and there's also delete here. But then there's also more options to choose from, but we're gonna keep it to read. Okay. So again, this is the object, the name. This is the object. What are we applying the read access to? The HR ticket table. Now remember from the presentation, the none here, the none corresponds to the table access. We need to first establish read access to the ticket table. Okay. So first, as long as we get that established, we should then be able to establish more granular controls. Okay, so role access requires roles. So Sam is part of payroll, right? So we're going to go ahead and enter payroll for the role. Okay, now, so these are extra parameters for the access, for these permissions, okay? And remember in the presentation, we have we have 5 teams. We have HR, we have general HR, payroll, training, benefits, and the last was confidential, right? The 4 can't have access to the confidential records, because that's really like, top secret, that cannot be available to them. So we're going to go ahead and create this data condition here. Okay. We're going to create, okay, so for under field, we're going to choose HR type, because that's the category that we've called it HR type to indicate category on this. So HR type is not confidential. All right, so we're going to go ahead and submit. Okay, and continue. All right, so I'm going to move this over here. Now I'm going to refresh. So now you see we have our ticket, we have our HR tickets here. So this is this is filtered by payroll. And then here, this is all the others, the general, training, benefits, and Sam can actually access these records. But I just also wanted to point out too, actually I wanted to, going over to favorites here, I'm going to do all. But I wanted to also point out that in this list here, what's missing? Confidential, right? So we've established read access to the HR ticket table, excluding confidential. So just wanted to point that out. And so now here we have, we have all the payroll tickets. Okay, so as you can see, we have read access to these records, but we don't have write access. Okay, so as payroll, Sam needs to be able to assign, to change, to edit this field, because Bushra Akhtar is on PTO. So this record needs to be assigned to someone else. So Sam needs to have write access to the record, but specifically to this field, to this assigned to field, okay? So how are we going to do that? All right, so now we are going to create a write operation onto this table here. And so it's important to note that if we're going to establish a write operation or write access to a certain field, we need to have that write access to the table itself. So if you think of, if we're going back to our house analogy, to our basement apartment analogy, right? We need even though we're gonna have write access, let's say like I want to paint the walls in my apartment, my basement, I need to be able to get into the house. So this way we are going to go ahead, we need to establish access to the house. So we're gonna set a write operation to this HR ticket table. Okay. Again, we're gonna put down payroll here. Okay. And then here, I don't think we need to make any other setting other parameters. So we're going to continue. Okay. So bringing over this window here. This is we're logged in as Sam in this window. We're going to go ahead and refresh. Okay. So we can change this, right? We can edit this, we can change. So there's only a few fields, right? So we can only change or edit the employee, parent, and HR field types. All these other fields, especially assigned to, we still don't have write access to. And the reason being is that this HR tickets table is extended from the task table, which is a huge list that it's kind of all in one bucket, right? Where if you can find what you need, but it's like it's inclusive of everything. So these fields, these attributes these are attributes set by the task table. And so now what we have to do is we have to establish write access specifically to this assigned to field, because again, Sam needs to be able to change people if they're not available to handle these records. All right, so let's go ahead and go back. Again here, the HR tickets table extends table from the task table. So we scroll down. Oops, sorry, I'm gonna scroll down. I'm gonna create a new record, new ACL record. We're gonna create write. And so here, this is what was established in the first write record, right? We established write ACL for the entire table. Now that we've already done that, we're going to specify which field in that table or in that record really that we need write privileges to. So we're going to go ahead and under here, we're not going to say none, we're going to say assign to. All right. All right, and again, we need to indicate what role should have this privilege. It's going to have HR payroll. All right, so and I think that should be it. So let's continue. All right. So here, if we refresh, now we can go ahead and reassign this to like Abraham Lincoln. Why not? So here I'm going to go ahead and save, because if I update, it'll take me out. So here now we can edit this. We have saved a new person to this assignment. So we have updated the database with a new person. So I just wanted to go ahead and show that. Okay, so now we can read, we can write, we can write to certain fields. We can't we can't create any new records. Sam might need to create new records on an ad hoc basis. So here, usually if you're given create privileges, there's a little button here that says create new. We don't have that. So now we have to give Sam that privilege to create new ACLs. So let's go ahead and do that. See, just like here. I'm going to create a new one. So we're on create there. All right, so we want Sam to be able to create record onto this table. So here, we're going to give him access to create to the entire table here. Okay, X payroll. All right. And I think that should do it. So we're going to go ahead and submit. All right. So moving this window back in, we're going to refresh. And so now here, before Sam wasn't able to, now we have a new button. So Sam can go ahead and create a new record. So here we're going to go ahead and we're going to submit this. See, now he can go ahead and submit. So he can create a new record. All right. So now we can read. As Sam, we can read, we can write, we can create. Now we don't have delete privileges. So we could create delete privileges for Sam, but that would be giving him too much power. But if we wanted to, we can just create a new one here and just change the operation to delete. And you make your specifications. But we don't want to give Sam that kind of power, so we're not going to go ahead and do that. I hope that this helps demystify ACLs. Though this concept might make sense on a conceptual level, you will see that as you work more with them, it can get confusing and complex quite easily. So that's why it's important to plan out, what access you want to control, especially in respects to roles. I hope you found this class to be informative. We would appreciate any feedback by filling out the survey link that was emailed to the class. This will inform us on how to improve the classroom instruction. Now, we have plenty of resources online. There are tons of great self-paced courses on Now Learning, as well as an online community where experts chime in to answer questions. Any documentation on our products and modules can be found at docs.servicenow.com. Now, if there are any questions, you can reach out to me at linder.pack@gmail.com, and you can find me on LinkedIn. Now, this concludes my demonstration. Thank you for having me today.